a GRE issue, those who are deeply committed to an idea or policy are the ones who are most critical of it. This is a GRE issue statement, an issue topic. Now, as you know, you have 30 minutes within which to write a response. And the more you write, greater the probability of getting a better grade. Out of 6 grade points, if you do well, you should get 4. And if you follow my instructions, you should definitely manage to get even more than 4. Now, my dear friends, please understand that in the introduction, you should take a clear position as to where you stand. The instruction given is that you are free to agree or disagree with the topic. But let me tell you clearly, all the GRE issue topics are debatable. Moot topics, M-O-O-T. Moot means not yet settled. That means debatable. That means it is not final. So that's a moot topic. So you will find that all these topics are debatable. And therefore, do not fully agree or disagree. Say that the speaker's statement is right, but not in all circumstances. So that is the position I would recommend. And then in the introduction, you clearly say so, that this is what the speaker says, and that is acceptable in some circumstances and for some people, but not for all at all times. Something like that. And then each paragraph follow the PREP formula. State a point, give an example, give some reasons and restate the point. And each paragraph should be a small one, and every paragraph should discuss only one idea. If you can stick to this simple format, you will score well. And your conclusion should always be a summary of the entire discussion briefly. Now let's look at this topic. Those who are deeply committed to an idea or policy are the ones who are most critical of it. To be critical of something means to find fault. Now, if you look at this sentence, the sentence is patently paradoxical. Patently means obviously. Paradox means self-contradictory. So, let's try to first understand the topic. I said it is patently paradoxical because how can it be possible that if a person is deeply committed to an idea or policy, could be also finding fault with it? Usually it is the other way around. In other words, if one doesn't find a fault with something, one is likely to be deeply committed to that. Therefore, the speaker's statement is paradoxical. You can mention this in the introduction. You will definitely also say, yes, in some cases, this is true. And an example that comes to my mind is Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was dedicated to the research into atomic physics. But he was also concerned that all this knowledge could be misused and lead to the creation of an atom bomb, which finally happened. Of course, there were other factors that were involved. And in fact, it is said that Albert Einstein wrote or spoke to the then President of America, cautioning him, because Albert Einstein was a pacifist. But also there was another incident. Many scientists signed a letter. A letter was drafted, and Einstein signed that letter, and it was sent to Roosevelt, the then president, at a later date, recommending that America launch into the Manhattan Project, which led to the creation of the 2 bombs that were dropped on Japan, that is Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Now, the logic behind that was that Hitler was on the verge of producing an atom bomb, and so all the scientists drafted a letter which was ultimately signed by Albert Einstein, and Einstein regretted this for the rest of his life. So here's an example. One more example can be Mahatma Gandhi, who supported the policy of civil disobedience but cautioned Indians that once the Britishers are driven out of the country, we should not continue with the same methods of protest, because then we would be paralyzing our own economy. But unfortunately, people continue to do the same method of protesting. Counter examples. There can be all kinds of people. Some people who are committed will not be critical and will not even tolerate criticism. That the example would be a terrorist. There are so many terrorists in the world today. They are totally committed to their ideology of terrorism and will never find fault with it, and also additionally would eliminate those who find fault with them. There can be also those people who are committed to an idea or policy. For example, we are committed to the idea of secularism. We believe that the government and religion should be kept separate and the government should not interfere in religious affairs. So, we don't have to find fault with that. There's nothing, no question of any repercussions of such a policy. Now, one more example. A martial arts teacher would not teach martial arts to everyone because there is a scope of misuse. Therefore, weapons training, martial arts cannot be taught to everyone. And even if it is taught to some people, even those people will be cautioned that this skill should not be used to exploit the innocent. Finally, people who are mature and have the capacity for critical thinking and foresight will understand that in some cases, commitment to an idea can have certain repercussions, that is, negative consequences. Therefore, these are the people who have that mental maturity to be committed at the same time, but are also critical because there is always a possibility of the commitment leading to undesirable consequences. Yet another example, all of us can safely agree that we are all deeply committed to becoming financially independent and as wealthy as possible. But deep down, we would also agree that this commitment, if it becomes an overcommitment, it can create an imbalance in life and that can be disastrous for the family. You see, most of the movies have this theme where the parents are too busy earning money to give their children a better life, but eventually the children become spoilt brats, lazy, complacent, and as a result, the bonding in the family is disturbed, and so that is an undesirable consequence. So, with all these examples, you should be able to write a good response, and your conclusion should be a summary of all that was discussed.